A New Hope, Nier Chapter 158 Fan Fiction by Azazyel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. A loud thwack rang out like a divine lightning bolt as Radahn groaned and held his head as Rennala from out of nowhere flew in and just beamed him over the head with her staff. You feel like a big man, huh? Leaving your family to run to the capital to become Elden Lord. What? Did you expect to get hitched to that bitch Marika? Rennala yelled at Radahn, making my head tilt back at the fury in her voice, and it didn't end there. First Ranni deciding that the outer gods needed to leave the lands between, killed the only other Emperyan in Godfrey, driving Marika insane, and then that damned brat Miquella had his sister go on a rampage with her cleanrot knights. And then Ranni gets the wonderful idea of playing dead by killing her divine body to take over Blaidde's damned chew toy from when he was a mere pup. Rennala stabbed her finger into Radahn's chest, making me sink back with Melina and A2 as well, taking a step back away from the giant as Rennala's motherly fury seemed to have no end. Rykard was a deranged child and I have made peace with his loss. But you were always the most level-headed. Why did you rush off to fight in the shattering Radahn? Radahn slowly exhaled and his gauntlets fell off his hands, and then he gently took his mother's smooth smaller hands into his scarred hands as he spoke in his deep drawl. I wanted to bring Radahn back, mother. He wasn't himself, and I know that he still loved you. I didn't fight in the shattering to become Elden Lord just for the position or glory. I coughed at that. The two looked at me and with a weirded out expression I said bluntly, Radahn and Marika are both foreign to this world and their people are weird. They are actually fused together now in a weird half-broken body with the remains of the Elden Ring floating in their empty chest. To prove my words I used my magic to create a mirror, and reflected within the mirror was the memory I had of Marika/Radagon's form that was hanging from the bindings of the Elden Beast, with Rennala and Radahn flinching at the sight. But then Melina asked quietly, Jake, you can see into the Erd Tree? Can you just open a portal there? I shrugged and without any care I replied bluntly, Yep, that I can. Now, so that Radahn and little Ranni are brought back together with family, it's time for me to get down to the bloody side of things and getting stronger. The demigods in Radahn and Rennala looked at me and I shrugged, saying, First is to kill the divine snake that ate Rykard around Gelmir. Then I will go to the Landil capital to deal with Morgott and his siblings underground. I spoke. But before I could decide whether to take a break for a while, Melina asked somewhat impatiently, Then why haven't we just teleported to the Erd Tree? I have a duty there I must dash. I silenced her by putting a finger to her lips, making Melina freeze in place as my mana flared out, and I said bluntly, Melina. No, you are not burning yourself to ashes to destroy the Erd Tree. I literally have 4 different ways to deal with it rather than having you kill yourself to destroy it. Rennala actually asked with some amusement. Jake, I myself with the very stars tried to destroy the Erd Tree during the first wars before I married Radahn. What can you do? Taking a breath I held up a hand and began counting down. First, I set off an extremely strong bomb below the capital, enhancing the frenzy flame under the capital, and it will burn down the capital including the Erd Tree before the frenzy flame loses its power. Second, I work with Radahn to drag a supermassive meteor to flatten the capital and probably the whole Altus Plateau. Taking a breath I continued. I myself take the frenzy flame upon myself and burn it down, and then using a special needle Miquella made I would get rid of the outer god's frenzy flame's influence through a ritual. I know where Miquella's left behind physical body is. So I can use Melina as a weapon to have her use her rot to kill the Erd Tree. At Rennala's odd look, I said flatly, Miquella took a note out of Ranni's book and fled his Emperyan body, leaving it behind to Mog to be molested and fed an endless amount of the twisted outer god's blood that Mog worships. I shook my head, now done with the info dump, as I said, Anyway, dealing with all of you in the course of a day is too much, so I am going to go relax in one of Ranni's spare towers. Before I continued my mad dash around this damned world, I finished, and then without a word I opened another portal with A2 and Melina following me as I popped into a tower that actually had a bedroom of sorts. After Jake left, Radahn and Rennala shared a look before Radahn looked down at his horse, which made Rennala's eyebrow twitch before she visibly took a deep breath and said, Alright, Radahn. Go take care of Leonard. He obviously needs food and water, even if you have kept him alive with your great rune. I will be speaking with your sister. And without a word Radahn galloped off towards the stables of while Rennala gripped her staff in an iron grip as she wanted to give her son a piece of her mind for how taciturn he was being. But he wasn't a child she could scold anymore, he was a grown man and a demigod who had conquered half the world. Letting the man deal with his most important connection in life was the best way to help him integrate back into normal life, even if such a thing wasn't possible in this day and age. But being left alone now, with Ranni having reluctantly accepted her mother's place here and her help in her plans to rid the world of the outer god's influence, Rennala was feeling the deep ache of loneliness, so she bit her lips and then opened up a tiny portal to view into the bedroom that Jake had taken his two friends into, and seeing only him laying down face down on the bed, obviously exhausted, while A2 and Melina were reading a couple of floors down lower in the tower. Rennala took a breath, with the portal growing in size with her stepping into it, as she decided to remind Jake of the promises he made her in curing her mind and taking the rune of rebirth.